as I was saying, Tom Holland just launched his own non-alcoholic beer brand, which is called Beero. And he talked about his journey to sobriety, which has now been a couple of years at this point. He said, "For me, Beero is personal. After 2 years on my sobriety journey, I wanted to create something that reflected my lifestyle and values. This beer isn't just for those on a similar path, but for everyone who appreciates quality, craftsmanship, and living life to the fullest. Beero delivers the taste and experience of a great brew and never asks you to settle for less." So obviously someone doesn't just start a non-alcoholic beer brand for no reason. There is a story behind it.
Unless they already run an alcohol company
Right.
and then
Yeah.
want to branch out.
Yeah, so he recently went on Jay Shetty's podcast and talked about his realization
He
that...
was on that list of 50 Hollywood A-listers. Jay Shetty was on that list.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, we do know who these people are.
I know these people.
Yeah, on that podcast, he talked about how he realized that alcohol was becoming a problem for him and how he needed it to get through social interactions. And I didn't really think about it that deeply until I heard him talk about it. As a celebrity, you're probably invited to go to parties like literally every day, especially if you're on his level.
Big
of
super
fame.
chat there from Francisco Sanchez Jr.
A third crisis party was sent to us. Hold, please.
Thank you, Francisco
Okay,
Sanchez
we'll
Jr.
wait for that one to trigger.
Hold, please. Well, it's going
But-
to take some time.
While we wait, we should play this clip of Tom Holland talking about why he started this brand.
Is it this one here?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go.
I didn't one day wake up and say, I'm giving up drinking. I just, like many Brits, had a very, very boozy December. Christmas time, I was on vacation, I was drinking a lot. And I've always been able to drink a lot. I think I get my genes from my mum's side in that thing, that I can drink. And I decided to just give up for January. I just wanted to do dry January. And all I could think about was having a drink. It's all I could think about. I was waking up thinking about it. I was checking the clock. When's it 12? And it just really scared me. I just was like, wow, maybe I have a little bit of an alcohol thing. So I sort of decided to punish myself and say, I'll do February as well. I'll do 2 months off. If I can do 2 months off, then I can prove to myself that I don't have a problem. 2 months go by, and I was still really struggling. I felt like I couldn't be social. I felt like I couldn't go to the pub and have a lime soda. I couldn't go out for dinner. I was really, really struggling. And I started to really worry that maybe I had an alcohol problem. So I decided that I would wait until my birthday, which is June 1st. I said to myself, if I can do 6 months without alcohol, then I can prove to myself that I don't have a problem. And by the time I had got to June 1st, I was the happiest I'd ever been in my life.
He probably got to it just in time. Like...
You mean
Yeah.
the addiction
Well,
side
yeah,
of things?
I mean, you know,
Well, there was a second part where he was talking more about it. I just want to get through the rest of that.
That's
clip.
Is that the first one here, or is the one at the
That one.
This one here?
Yeah.
Okay.
My life. I could sleep better. I could handle problems better. Things that would go wrong on set that would normally set me off, I could take in my stride. I had such better mental clarity. I felt healthier. I felt fitter. And I just sort of said to myself, like, why am I enslaved to this drink? Why am I so obsessed by the idea of having this drink? And I would look back and recognize that I would go to events for work and be like, I can't enjoy myself until I've had a few beers. And I just felt so much pressure. And this is one of the things why I've sort of distanced myself from the rugby community, because so much of it is about
That's
how
very
much energy
British.
to get this drunk as
So
possible.
British.
And it's honestly been the best thing I've ever done. I'm a year and a half into it now. It doesn't even cross my mind. I've found amazing replacements that I think are fantastic.
Thank you, Francisco Sanchez Jr. This one is for you.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
Okay. Continue.
Okay.
Hold, please.
Fantastic. Ones that are also really healthy. I found this one beer that it's full of electrolytes, and it's, you know, the carbohydrates in it are long-lasting energy. So like having a beer is now actually like a really healthy thing. I'm really lucky that all my friends are super supportive about it. I've never run into that scenario where my friends are like, oh, go on, just have a beer, like, you're fine.
That also never happened to me. I never had the mythical situation where, you know, people are like, hey man,
Is it mythical? Is that kind of thing?
look, I also never had people like, look, once you're hooked, like, and again, drinking wasn't my thing. Mine was drugs. But, you know, when you've got a dealer, the dealer wants to sell you drugs, but there wasn't just random people. You know, they make it seem like you're going to walk down the street. The DARE program made it seem like you were just going to walk down the street and people
Someone's
going to
open
like,
a trench
just
coat.
throw drugs into you.
They're going to open the trench coat and they're going to be like, I've got free drugs. Do you want some?
I've never once come into a situation where I told people that I was in recovery and sober and have them say, oh, loser. No, they all say, good for you.
Yeah, the peer pressure thing is far more likely to happen as, like, if you're a minor, you know?
Yeah.
People who haven't figured out having
their
an
frontal
identity.
lobe hasn't been fully developed yet.
They've always sort of really supported me, and I don't want to be that person that's saying to people, you should get sober, you should get sober. If I could encourage someone to drink less, then that's great. But I don't want to start getting into the world of, you need to stop drinking, because it's not for me to say. I went on my own little journey.
Yep.
I'm really enjoying it. I'm delighted that my mum's has also given up. She's loving it. And it's been amazing. I can't believe the difference that I feel from not drinking.
I also never, I've never been the person, it's not my job to tell you how to live your life. I know plenty of people who dabble with various things that live perfectly normal lives that just their brain chemistry isn't like mine. They can do it when they want and seem to go about living a regular life where it doesn't affect them. I'm very libertarian in that perspective. I don't really care if other people choose to do drugs. I'm not going to judge them for doing so. So I think he has a very good approach, because what he's focusing on himself and not on other people, right? He's focusing on how alcohol affected him, not what it means for everyone else.
He seems really happy about the change, because it's great that he noticed it and caught it, like you said, at just early enough time.
When you're starting to have those periods, like I'll tell this story, and I won't make this super long. So early on for me, right? I was already addicted. This was at a time where I was taking a lot of Oxycontin, a lot of Vicodin, a lot of Dilaudid, and I was not able to get any. I went like a week and a half without it. And no, I was through the worst of like the tremors and the shakes. This was early on in these days for me, because a week and a half would be a pretty short withdrawal period for that stuff. And I made it through it, and I went back to it. And I will never, like, my life could look drastically different right now if I would have recognized that, like, look, you had a shitty couple of weeks, you're out of it, but it was too tempting and it was too hard. It wasn't until life legitimately fell apart for me that I was able to understand the consequences of my actions. So he's got a way more stressful life than I had at that time. You know, this dude's got responsibilities. He's Spider-Man. He's legitimately Spider-Man for Marvel, right? He's got to go to movie premieres. He's got to go to do all of these appearances.
I don't see the same light in Ben Affleck's eyes.
No.
When he does interviews talking about his journey to sobriety, it doesn't come off the same way at all. And I think it's because he lost more to it than Tom Holland had to.
Oh, very much so, I'm sure.
People are confused about this now. Obviously, Tom Holland became sober and then made money off of it, which is a baller move. But now Ben Affleck was seen directing a commercial for Stella with Matt Damon and David Beckham just a couple of days ago, despite the fact that, as far as the public knows, Ben Affleck is sober, having lost a lot of time to alcoholism. He has been very public about the fact that he recovered, and yet he's planning to promote a beer brand with these other celebrities. It's very strange.
Yeah.
And especially after, as some people pointed out, Ben Affleck's team claimed that his now ex-wife, J-Lo, having an alcohol brand was posing a threat to his sobriety.
Look, I think the fact that Zendaya doesn't drink probably played a role in this as well. Because I read in an article that Zendaya doesn't drink either. So I'll tell you, like once you get clean and you can sleep through the night again, and you can wake up without in the morning without waking up shaking, you will never want to go back.
There's a juxtaposition here, though. Tom Holland clearly is only focused on himself.
Yes.
And what he is responsible for, and making the change he needed to make for himself. And yet, on the other hand, Ben Affleck, who is like decades his senior, thinks that his wife having this alcohol brand was a threat to his sobriety, which is, I mean, if that's true, that's kind of an abdication of your personal responsibility over your own sobriety.
Job. You know, it's kind of it's an old adage. Right? It's like you can't control what goes on in the world around you. All you can control is how you react to it. So the best thing for him to do is to not put himself into situations where you're around it, right? So just because she owns an alcohol company doesn't mean you don't have to go to events promoting the brand. You don't have to go to tastings or testings. It's your responsibility. Your triggers are your responsibility. Yeah, the things that tempt you are yours. So for me, drugs for me, they kind of exasperated the worst of my personality traits, meaning isolationism in the extreme, meaning I'm already a fairly introverted person, and it just made it worse. Like now, you know, I was skating less. Going out with friends way less. Like it cut down on the skating a little bit. It destroyed any semblance of a social life. So now, even on days where it's like, you know, we go out and do things, I don't necessarily always want to, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, but you understand the importance of it, and the fact that you don't have something chemically telling you don't need to is a blessing. And that type of gratitude for the changes that you've made and the knowledge of how far you've come since that time is a gift if you choose to focus on it. And Ben Affleck is clearly not focusing on it.
I just find it strange for him to be a brand ambassador for alcohol.
Well, I mean, directing
everything.
Was he in the commercial, or was he just directing the commercial? If all he's doing is directing it, that doesn't necessarily make him an ambassador.
Okay, sure.
So.
Okay, that's fine. He doesn't disavow other people drinking it. Sure. But other people are claiming that this means, you know, Ben Affleck is clearly not sober anymore. Why are we keeping up this charade? There's no proof that he isn't sober. I think that's a little bit ridiculous.
And he shouldn't be focusing on what other people think of it anyways, because you can't control what other people think of you.
How other people perceive you. Yeah.
Yep. And look, these are like, not to go off on a tangent here, but people draw the line in different places. There's plenty of people that would tell you caffeine is something you shouldn't consume,
or
right?
sugar,
or all those
seed oils.
Just focus on you.
Fluoride.
Live whatever life allows you to be the healthiest you can be without, you know, and not destroy your quality of living. Focus on your own life, and you'll always be happier. If you're focusing on the lives of other people, you're almost always worse because you can't control it, and that alone makes life more difficult.
You know what? That's why I zin. It drastically improves my quality of life.
There you go.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.